Good morning. My name is Danielle Van Leeuwen, and I attend St. Catherine Drexel Parish in Jackson, California. I'm very excited that ChristLife has given me the opportunity to share my testimonial with you on my experience with the Discovering Christ program. I was born into the Catholic faith. The Catholic Church of the 80s and 90s was not like it is today. There was no sense of community and very little outreach to parishioners. We just went to Mass in a crowd of unknown faces and went home. I attended CCD, but like many others, once I made my confirmation, life outside of the church took priority. I always knew God was with me, but I never felt a strong presence of the Holy Spirit. Even when I got married, I managed to jump through enough hoops in order to get married in the church, but again, we quickly fell away. During this time, my family was growing, but I could barely enjoy it because I was hyper-focused on my career, the highs of success, and hitting high-performance goals. So much so that work was becoming more important than my family. My husband stayed home with our children, and the pressure to succeed and make more money ruled my life. It wasn't until my 7-year-old daughter asked me one day, "Why don't we go to church?" That question cut me like a knife. I didn't have an answer for her. I asked her if she wanted to go to church, and she said yes. Even though we were Catholic, I was afraid that if I took her to a Catholic church, it would be too much for her or would turn her off or scare her. So we went to the Protestant church in town on Easter Sunday. Everyone was so kind and welcoming. They had a children's church that the kids went to during the service. It was very nice. But in the middle of that service, I felt this presence come down on me saying, "What are you doing here? You do not belong here." It really scared me. But it also pushed me to where I should have always been. The very next week, we were sitting in the pews of St. Catherine Drexel Parish, and we've never looked back. One of the first Sundays we were there, we decided to stay and have donuts after Mass. A man named Dan noticed we were new and came and sat with us. He invited us to a small group class that was for returning Catholics. I didn't think I had time for anything other than work, and I felt a little bit nervous about meeting new people, but I agreed to go. During that class, I started to feel more comfortable around our new community. A few months into this class, there was a program that would be starting called Discovering Christ. It was a program that met weekly for 8 sessions. You'd get a beautiful meal, a time to really look at our relationship with Jesus Christ. I was still feeling self-conscious about and out of place with this new group of people. However, right around the time I was discerning attending, our parish priest gave a homily, and that really resonated with me. He was speaking about how we perceive how holy others are compared to ourselves. We tend to compare ourselves to others, but the truth is, we're all sinners and imperfect. That was exactly what I needed to hear. My family was fairly new to the parish. We didn't really know anyone. I really thought I'd show up for Discovering Christ and everyone at my table would find out that I'm a fraud, that I'm stupid, and that I'm very uneducated in my Catholic life. I felt like I wouldn't fit in, and it seemed like they were way more Catholic than my family was. But I signed up, and it was much different than I expected. These people were welcoming, they were humble, they wanted me to be there just as much as they wanted to be there. Thursday nights turned into one of my favorite nights of the week. I looked forward to seeing them every week, and they very quickly became my friends. The experience showed me what is meant by community. Everyone was so authentic and genuinely happy to be a part of this with me. Learning, sharing, discussing, and just enjoying the Holy Spirit with others was such an amazing experience. In addition to growing relationships with my fellow parishioners, I grew in my spiritual life too. Over the course of those 8 sessions, there were a couple Holy Spirit moments that have really impacted my church life. I finally felt like my relationship with Jesus was a true relationship. During Discovering Christ, I really connected with the Lord in a way that I've never experienced before. After that experience, I started praying to God to lead me to opportunities to be able to serve Him and the church more. Before discovering Christ, I always thought I worked so much that I'd never have time for anything more than merely Sunday Mass. But as I had an increase in my prayer life, God showed me ways to make room for our relationship to grow. It's funny when God calls you, He makes sure there's time for Him. I experienced a pull to receive the sacraments as often as I could. The sacraments became a non-negotiable for my family and I. My prayer life continued to expand. The goal of my life became getting myself and my family into heaven. My personal and professional life started to feel so much more peaceful, and I would not have had this feeling if I had not stepped out of my comfort zone and signed up for discovering Christ.